Good morning. This is Mike Houston with your Thursday morning weather hazard briefing for southeast Idaho. Looking at the key points for this forecast period, the storm system that we have currently over us will continue to move through the region today and Friday. We're expecting a mix of rain and snow across the region with this first segment this morning, and then things will cool and transition over to all snow later this afternoon and evening. Gusty winds are expected across the Snake River Plain and Arco Desert today, and then that area of stronger winds will shift south and west into the eastern Magic Valley and southern hills for Friday, with this second segment that will be pushing through the region. This segment will be colder on Friday, and that'll allow us to see all snow across the region. The pattern remains active as we work our way into the latter part of the weekend, with the second storm system arriving sometime Sunday and continuing through Tuesday. Fairly disorganized here, so I'm not really expecting a whole lot going on during that time frame other than some periods of light snow. Looking at satellite imagery here this morning, we have that complex low-pressure trough working into the region with that first segment that's impacting us today, working slowly through southern Idaho, bringing us a mix of rain and snow, and then later on today we'll get some cooler temperatures working in behind the low to allow things to cool and provide us with the snow. And then we'll have that second system sliding through the region on Friday with the colder temperatures already in place and snowfall across the area. Looking at our weather risk matrix of doom, you see we have some active weather here across the region today with strong gusty winds in the Snake Plain, a mix of moderate impacts for snow in the central and eastern mountains. Much of that continues into the day on Friday with strong gusty winds down in the Magic Valley and southern hills, and then impactful snow here across the southeast and eastern highlands, as well as some of the southern mountains. I'll get into the highlights here in a second. Less impactful weather as we work our way into the weekend and early next week. Looking at high temperatures today, you can see that we do have highs probably occurring early today, generally in the 30s throughout the Snake River Plain and eastern Magic Valley, getting to the mid-20s to lower 30s here in the central mountains and eastern highlands. As a result, with that, we'll have a mix of rain and snow throughout the Snake River Plain, probably not accumulating much here today in the Snake River Plain, but we are seeing some accumulations running up into our advisory levels here in the central mountains today and eastern highlands. And this is what we are forecasting today. If things were to get sideways on us, we could see obviously some stronger accumulations here, particularly in the mountainous areas, maybe getting upwards of an inch here in the Snake River Plain if things cool off a little early today. In addition to the snow, we have wind throughout the Snake River Plain and Arco Desert region, mainly early this afternoon and into the early evening hours, things shutting off and then probably shifting further south as we get into the late overnight hours tonight. I'll show you that graphic here in a minute. But we do have we do have advisories for snow and wind out. So the wind advisories for the upper valley today get down south, and we'll have wind advisories out for tomorrow, so these brown areas. The purple areas indicate areas where we have snow advisories out. So we do have a snow advisory out here for the central mountains. That one continues through about midnight tonight, as I recall. The ones across the eastern highlands here, we have two segments of those, primarily one for today's stuff above 7,000 feet because of the elevated snow levels, and then a continuing one for tomorrow encompassing most all of the zone, not elevationally depicted. And with impacts for snow accumulations there as well. We also added higher elevations here across the south for some accumulating snows, primarily above 6,000 feet, and that would be for late tonight and tomorrow. All right, looking at high temperatures for Friday, as I mentioned, things would be cooling off behind the first segment late this afternoon, and we won't really recover from that. We'll stay fairly cool for the next week. primarily remaining in the low 30s here in the Snake River Plain and 20s pretty much in the Central Mountains and Eastern Highlands. And we'll have that second segment of the storm system pushing through tomorrow. It looks like the main impacts will be across the eastern and southeast highlands, where we have those highlights that I previously mentioned. And we'll also have that area of wind now shifting further south into the Magic Valley and south central highlands. Again, those were the highlights for tomorrow. Would be the wind and the snow impacts here across the east and southern mountains. Snow amounts here, again, as we work our way into that Sunday storm system, late weekend. Like I said, it wasn't looking very organized at the moment, so not expecting a whole lot of accumulation here. We're showing anywhere from a tenth upwards to maybe 3 inches in some of these higher mountainous areas here for Sunday. But a lot of that disorganized activity will continue even into Tuesday. All right, in summary, we do have a storm system pushing through the region today and Friday. That first segment today will have a mix of rain and snow, particularly this morning, and then that will cool and transition over to snow later this afternoon and evening. We will have gusty winds today across the Snake River Plain and Arco Desert, where we have a wind advisory out. That activity will shift south and west to the eastern Magic Valley and southern hills for late tonight and Friday, with that second segment of the storm pushing through the region, and it will bring colder temperatures and widespread snow to the region. The active weather pattern continues with the second storm system arriving sometime Sunday and continuing through Tuesday. Not very organized, so we're not expecting any huge highlights out of that particular system. That's all I had for you this morning. If you had any comments, questions, or concerns, you can reach out to us on one of the avenues here listed on the screen. Thank you.